are witnessing our black men being murdered in the streets. Very rarely do we talk about the women who are left behind, grief-stricken and shattered. George Floyd has a 6-year-old daughter, a sister, a girlfriend. Ahmaud Arbery, a mother, a sister. Both men have countless heartbroken women, aunts, cousins, friends in their lives who love them. We are dedicating this Red Table Talk to how gun violence affects women. And we're starting the conversation with my beautiful little sis, Lauren London, to talk about the traumas of gun violence and how she's helping other women through loss and grief. Lauren lost her life partner, visionary and artist Nipsey Hussle, when he was gunned down outside his LA clothing store. Lauren had been in a relationship with Nip for 6 years. They share a son together.
My pain is for my 2-year-old that probably won't remember how much his dad loved him.
Since Nipsey's passing, Lauren has remained committed to keeping his legacy alive.
Grief is the final act of love. I'm so grateful that I had you. And until we meet again, the marathon continues.
Here we are.
What is up, y'all? It's your girl, Brand New, and honey, I am back in the building. And this time, honey, I'm back because I got two of my favorite ladies together. If you know anything about me, I love me some Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett, you guys used to be like one of my favorite actresses. She still is. I love me some Lauren London. I think she is beautiful. She's a great actress. She seems like a great mom. She just seems like a normal, regular, everyday girl, you know, like, I don't know. I just love me some Lauren London, honey. Okay. So, this episode meant a lot to me to talk about because she said some very interesting things about Nipsey. And not only did she say some interesting things about Nipsey, she talked a lot about, what she was used to, growing up as far as being in LA, living in LA and the violence. Jada also shares her experiences with violence and, you know, it was a normal everyday occurrence for a man to lose his life, you know, in their neighborhood. So I felt like, wow, that's, you know, pretty interesting that she would see that. I'm specifically talking about Lauren. And then she would get with Nipsey later on and, you know, kind of watch, you know, that whole ordeal play out. So I'm going to let the interview play, you guys, and I will be in and out with my commentary.
Here we go. Yes. Lauren, hi. Mama, thank you. So you've lost someone who is very close to you, who's a public figure, and you're a public figure, and having to go out into the world. What can people do to be helpful?
I love to meet people that Nip has like really inspired.
Yeah.
Because it feels like he's still here, yeah. Even though he is in a way.
Yeah.
But it's like his purpose that was completely outside of any of us. His purpose is he's touching people still. And
yeah.
I find that when I run into people that tell me how he's changed their life, what they're doing with their life right now, like it fills me up.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he would have loved to hear that, you know? And it fills me up. And when my kids are there, my kids hear it, they're like proud, like, man, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Those are always very special moments.
What would be some of the things you could offer to other people who are mourning the loss of a significant other, you know, that's been lost?
For me, what's really been important is like connecting with God. And that's been a struggle because something horrible happens in your eyes and you're like, how God, you know? Mm-hmm. And knowing that there is life after this life.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I don't always wake up on the enlightened side of the bed, you know?
Right.
And the days that I don't, I let myself, because I'm human.
Right.
And, you know, I'm not always going to feel so I'm going to be okay. I don't. And that's okay too.
Right.
So I let...
Wow, you guys. I really love her honesty and her transparency.
Myself be human. I'm gentle with myself. And I find things that matter. And so I try to live with the purpose. You know, when I'm having a bad day, I meditate. I go within.
Right. What about your community, like your network of family and friends?
I think it's important for people that love you to remind you on who you are. Because trauma and violence and just life can make you feel down.
Yeah.
So to have people that love you, that remind you, like, no, you know, you matter, and that you'll be okay, and that you can do this.
Right.
That's been very important for me. People that see me, like my heart, to be around me is really important. And it's been even outside of my family and like the people that I know personally, just love.
Got it.
Has been very helpful.
So you're raising 2 black boys. As a mother, like, what are some of your precautions or like some of your messaging?
What I instill in them is more about the police.
Got it.
How to handle yourself when you get pulled over.
Right.
That's more of my
education.
Yeah.
And that is good, you guys, that she's talking to her sons about the police. I know a lot of parents try to skip over that conversation. You know, when they have young black boys, they may feel like, oh, well, I'll just save it to when they're grown. And no, I say have the conversation as early as possible. That way they have somewhat of an introduction, you know, into what's going on. It's just really sad, though, you guys, when I think about it, that we have to talk to our young black boys about police brutality, and you could be killed because you're a young black male, and you know you're the target, you're the prey, and you know it's just really sad, you guys. Another thing is, I'm shocked that they did not talk about Tupac, because we know Jada loved her some Tupac, honey. That was her best friend coming up, and Lauren is obsessed with Tupac. Do y'all check out Lauren London's Instagram, honey? That's all she talk about is Pac. Before she got with Nip, it was Pac this, Pac that, always posting his pictures. You know, he's one of her favorite artists, so I wish they would have ended up talking about Pac, but they didn't.
Yes, protecting them being black men in America.
When would you say was the first time that you can remember that you were affected by gun violence?
Just growing up in LA, in the area that I was around, like just in high school, a lot of the boys were in gangs, and I just remember that a lot of our friends that by summertime, you know, they were gone. They had transitioned from gun violence. So you kind of got a little bit, I don't want to say numb, but used to hearing it.
Yeah. I think for me, it was kind of like middle school, high school. You know, it just became, unfortunately, like a norm.
But even going to like a party in high school, you know,
you were like putting your life on the line.
And you always like walked in, you knew where the exit was, because you knew at any time, you know,
something could jump off.
Something can happen.
Wow, that is crazy. I know that she grew up, you guys, in LA, and I know that LA is, you know, known for their gangs and being dangerous and violent, but I can just say for myself, if I would have came up around that, I definitely have, like, lived in the hood and all of that. I'm not, you know, unremoved from that, you guys, but I'm just saying, if I would have been around that the way Lauren was around that, I don't know if I would have chose a man like Nipsey, because I would have been afraid that his life would have been taken. You know, he's in this gang, or even with him, you know, getting his life together. I don't know. That would have really, I don't know. That just would have did something to me, because if I was around that growing up, I wouldn't have wanted that for myself if I was a grown woman. Do you see what I'm saying? So for her to sit up here, I had always thought about that with her and Nip, like, why did she pick him out? And Nip was a good guy, you know, don't get me wrong, a very talented artist, very intellectual. I watched a lot of his different interviews. He seemed like a really good guy, but I told you all in my Lauren London series, I never felt good about them being together. I always saw something like this happening. And I wonder if Lauren thought that something like this would ever happen. And do you see what I'm saying? Like, I just wonder, like, how do you grow up going through all that violence and, you know, you see people dying all the time, and then you get in a relationship with somebody that's affiliated with a gang, and then, like, you don't have that thought that maybe this could happen to them, like, and then you have a baby with this person. I just wonder, did her mind, and I wish Jada would have asked her more about that, like, did you ever see this happening? Did you ever see your son growing up without a father, you know, because he's still, you know, still in the streets, you know, or he still has businesses, you know, within the community, you know, like, and a lot of people will say, you know, that Nipsey, you know, was trying to help his community. I get it, you guys, but me purposely, specifically me, I wouldn't have put that that store where he put it. Wouldn't have had that store right there. Nip had always, and this is, you know, what I was told in like different interviews I've seen. People would say that Nipsey would go in the hood without a gun, and, you know, those was his people, and, you know, all that type of talk. I get it. You know, but like once you become a celebrity, you are a target. You know, he probably wasn't that much of a target, you know, when he was coming up and getting his money together and selling his mixtape. But once he became a celebrity, I feel like he should always have some type of gun or something on him, because them enemies is amongst the people. All the people you trying to do good for, there's an enemy up in there somewhere.
Especially house parties.
That's traumatizing to be 16 years old, having to be on guard when you go into a party.
But if it's traumatizing, Lauren, if it's traumatizing, then why would you choose the type of man that you did? That is, I think that's where I'm at with it, you guys. And don't get me wrong, I felt like her and Nip made a beautiful couple, and she seemed really inspired by him, you know, like by him as an artist, and, you know, by him and his intelligence. Like I have seen different interviews where Nip was like interviewing, and Lauren, the way she looked at him, you could just tell she was in love, and, you know, all these things. But it's just like, if that was so traumatizing, then why would the mind state be as a grown woman to pick a man out like that could be taken from you? That's where I wish this conversation would have went. But it was still a good interview. And I still love you, Lauren. But I just have, you know, those questions. And I wonder if any of you all have those same questions. Put them down below, you guys, in the comment section if you do.
You just get used to figuring out how to keep yourself safe in these environments. And I try to tell people all the time, it's like, most of us grow up in war zones. And I did not even really realize that until my life changed, when I started to look at how my kids were growing up versus me. And then me trying to train them in a way. I was like, but no, they don't. That's not their reality. They don't have to worry about that. They don't
have to have that guard up.
Right.
One of my best friends, her first time, you know, she was 4 years old, 4 or 5, and her uncle got shot and killed in front of her on the porch.
Right. Oh, no. That is horrible. I don't know, you guys. That would really break me down. Wow.
You know? Right. And so she carried that.
I'm so grateful for you, because I wouldn't have known about Erica Ford without you.
I was doing an event with Puma in New York.
Okay.
And a part of the event was that we were going to donate some money and clothes to an organization.
Okay.
And a friend of mine brought up Erica, and I go do some research, and like the first 5 seconds, I was like, this is it. They were practicing the same ideas and practices that I do in my everyday life. I was able to go and talk to the girls. It was a group of girls that were affected from gun violence. They lost fathers, brothers, and they're traumatized by that.
It is so nice, you guys, that she's taking the situation with Nip and becoming more community oriented, which is something that is very different from Lauren, because I think a lot of us only knew her as a model and an actress, you know, but now that she has been with Nip, you know, you can see the maturity in her. You can see how he has changed her life. You know what I'm saying? As far as having her be more community oriented. Because to me, she wasn't really like that before. Maybe it was there and I never seen it, or the viewing audience, you know, we never seen it. But I do see some good that has happened out of Lauren and Nipsey being together. But my whole thing, though, you guys, with Lauren is I do not want her to choose the same type of man again, because it's like, how much pain can your heart take? You know, like if you are affiliated with someone that has been in a gang, or I heard even if you try to get out, honey, they still be after you. I don't know how that whole thing goes, you guys, but do you see what I'm saying? I want her in the future to choose better and to choose wiser. I'm not at all saying that Nipsey was a horrible man. That is not what I'm saying, you guys. But we all know when you are affiliated with somebody that is in a gang, that is what comes with them. That is the risk that you take with being with them, is the fact that they may not be living with you forever. You know, you may not ever be able to get married to this man. You know, your kids ain't gonna have no dad. You know, I don't want to see Lauren go down this same path again. I really hope she changes that, you guys.
We all relate together. We were all grounded and solid together by gun violence.
Absolutely. Could you feel the medicine of you actually being there with them and being able to share your process of healing?
Oh man, they healed me in a lot of ways, because, you know, I think trauma feels so lonely.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And just in talking to them, they gave me so much more than I feel like I gave to them. They gave me just their stories and just their like rawness, and it made me not feel so alone. And it was very magical. Right. It was magical. It was very healing. It's like, you know, this is what you're supposed to do.
I was like, Nip's super proud.
You would have loved her.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I love you.
That is so amazing. I wish this conversation, you guys, between the two of them would have lasted longer, because to me they have a lot in common. Both actresses, both, you know, grew up in like violent areas, and both love Pac and Nipsey, and you know, I don't know, I just would have loved to have more of a girlfriend conversation. Jada, go on ahead, honey, and invite Lauren London, honey, back to the red table, honey. Okay, well, y'all wasn't even around the damn table this time, so what's up with that, Jada? Okay, you holding out or what? But yeah, go ahead, honey, have her back to the show, Jada. Let's check back in with our girl Lauren and the kids. I hope everything is good for her and her children. You guys, y'all continue to keep Lauren, honey, in y'all prayers, because, you know, she's still going through a lot, even though it's been what, a couple of years since Nip it was just last year. It's 2020. Yeah, he passed in 2019. So yeah, it's been over a year, and I still think that it's, you know, it's been hard for her, you guys, but I really do hope that she has learned a lesson from all of this. And it seemed like she has. Y'all get down in the comments. Y'all let me know, do y'all feel like Lauren has really learned something from this situation, from being with Nip? What did you feel about her being on Red Table Talk with Jada? Y'all don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I am your girl, Brand New, and I will check you guys out later.